My dear friends, and my dear masters, and my dear gods of India and the whole of the world, today we will dwell upon a most important topic for human welfare and human development, which is called as scientific temper. My dear friends, the human being is differentiated from an animal being because of its prime unique characteristic called as scientific temper. If you compare and contrast human beings with all the animal beings, life is the same. The life processes are the same. That is birth, growth, eating, sleeping, procreation, sex, death, community living, etc., etc. All these things are common to both the humankind and the animal kind. However, the humanity is a little different from the animal kingdom in terms of analysis, experiment, experience, research. In short, all these constitute what is called as scientific temper. A human being ought to question everything. Out of the questioning process comes the understanding process, and from the understanding process comes the development process. And what we today in the humanity, there is so much human development compared to the animal world. It's all because of the scientific temper of the human beings. The science, the technology that we see all around us is a result of the scientific temper. We see so many amenities, comforts, luxuries. We see the television, we see the internet, we see the jet plane, we see the light, the incandescent light. So many scientists have helped us, helped the humanity to reach its present stage of classic development. The scientific temper has allowed the man to break open the atom. The scientific temper has allowed the humanity to set its foot on the moon, to fly in the air. My dear friends, however, we see so many wars, so many atrocities of one human being killing another human being, which you do not find in any animal kingdom. What a shame it is to find humanity lag behind the animal kingdom in this vital respect. No animal eats food without hunger in its stomach, but human beings eat without hunger. What a shame. What lack of scientific temper when it comes to eating. And no animal is in dukkha, in mental anguish. There is no anguish in the animal kingdom, which you see in the human kingdom rampant. While the scientific temper, in terms of the outer achievement, has given humanity its present status, however, in real terms of happiness, all the human kingdom lags so very behind the animal kingdom. You can't find an animal unhappy, and you can't find a human being happy. So what a shame on human kingdom. Where is the scientific temper gone? Why there is no smile on the face of a human being? Why there is greed on the face of the human being? Why there is disease, conflict, war? Why a group of human beings kill another group of human beings? Why there is a war cry? You seldom see happiness on the face of the human beings. Where is that scientific temper gone? Where is the innocence of the animal beings gone in the human face? You see all the people in a jet plane flying from one country to another country. And all the beings, human beings there in the jet plane are all sad. Every human being is sad, full of sorrow. The scientific temper which could create a jet plane, why it is not able to create happiness in the human being? What is the end of the human being? If you earn 1 lakh rupees, then you want to earn 10 lakh rupees. If you want 10 lakh rupees, you want to earn 1 crore, on and on and on. And is it simply ridiculous? A tiger laughs at a human being. A deer laughs at a human being. A snake is laughing at a human being. Hey, you idiots. So the human being has become a laughing creature on this earth. All the animal creatures are so beautiful, are so wonderful people, and they are having a hearty laugh at the humanity. In fact, all the animal species are suffering under the human kingdom. The negativity of the human kingdom is a very sad feature the animal kingdom is worried about. The earth has become a most unhospitable planet because of the human being. The scientific temper of the human being is lost. The happiness is lost. Only greed has stepped in. Only cruelty has stepped in. Only murder has stepped in. The scientific temper, which has been used by the humanity to explore the outer, has to be used to explore the inner. Though only human beings that are respected by the animal kingdom are human beings like Jesus Christ, like Gautama Buddha. Only such people are respected by the animal kingdom, and they love such human beings who are the real caretakers of the planet Earth, who are the real masters of the scientific temper in terms of human life and values. The time has come, my dear friends, to use the scientific temper to produce happiness in human life, to produce beauty in human life, to produce harmony in human life, to establish peace on this planet. My dear friends, if you don't become a spiritual scientist, a spiritual person, you have no scientific temper whatsoever. You are almost like a machine, copying the other guy. If he has got 2 cars, you want 3 cars. This is simply ridiculous. Man has ceased to become a basic, decent animal being. Man has become a machine with a so-called scientific temper. What kind of temper is it? And what kind of science is it? My dear friends, the Pyramid Spiritual Societies movement is a part of the worldwide New Age spiritual movement, which restores the decency of a human being and makes it on par with the rest of the animal kingdom. Unless a person becomes a spiritual person, a person cannot stand on equal level with any animal being. My dear friends, human being is not supposed to eat animals. It's absolutely horrible. And yet we see 99% of the earth humanity eating animal brothers and sisters. And we call ourselves highly developed. My dear friends, unless the scientific temper of the human being is turned towards finding out the real values of human life, the real purpose of human existence, we will not find a place in creation. Humanity will have to be eliminated from the planet Earth if humanity as a whole does not become like Gautama Buddha or Jesus Christ. These are the two examples of perfect human being, where there is no cruelty and where there is self-realization. The scientific temper demands that you realize yourself, who you are, why you are born, what is the purpose of your living, what should be your goal. These are the questions that one should put to one's own self. A person who doesn't put these questions is lacking utterly the scientific temper. Scientific temper means investigation of things. One who does not investigate things doesn't have scientific temper. Buddha investigated himself. Jesus Christ investigated himself. And when they investigated their own selves, they found huge truths. And they distributed their experience to the whole of the humanity. My dear friends, meditation is the main tool of scientific temper. Unless one makes one's own mind empty, the truth is not seen. The mind is the coloring agent of the human being. The mind creates things which it wants to see. Unless we clear the mind of all the debris, unless we make the mind empty, we cannot see the truth which exists as it is. Which is the purpose of the scientific temper? To see truth as it is, not as we want to see. Meditation is the only way to make your mind silent, and Jesus Christ did meditate, and Gautama Buddha did meditate, and they found the truth. That they were not these physical bodies, that they were beautiful, eternal specks of consciousness, which is the same as all the animal kingdom. No animal misunderstands its own self as the body of its own self. No. They all know that the body is different from the self. It's only the human being that identifies one's own self with the body. Therefore, suffering and giving suffering to all the animal kingdom. My dear friends, the new scientific temper calls for meditation on the part of every human being. It is the inner education which is called as the new scientific temper. The Pyramid Spiritual Societies movement is introducing this new scientific temper, where it calls everybody to go into meditation, go into deep meditation to find out one's own personal truth through personal experience. In the same way as Gautama Buddha did 2500 years back, or Jesus Christ did 2000 years back. The Pyramid Spiritual Societies movement is cautioning all the people to become masters of this new spiritual science, this new scientific temper, to understand its own self, not to eat unnecessarily, not to sleep unnecessarily, not to speak unnecessarily, not to interfere in others' affairs unnecessarily. All these call forth the application of scientific temper in human affairs. The scientific temper has to be applied in human affairs and human interactions and human interrelationships. The scientific temper has to be applied in all the human equations. Where there is no application of the scientific temper in human equations, suffering is the result, sorrow is the result, degradation is the result, war is the result. My dear friends, right from childhood, this new scientific temper has to be inculcated so that every child grows as a beautiful human being, harmless human being, harmonious human being, divine human being, social human being, not antisocial. The scientific temper, the new scientific temper demands that you spend with your own self 4 to 5 hours a day, closing your own eyes and observing your breath and living in your actual truth, which is beyond the wildest imagination. The actual truth is beyond the wildest imagination of a person who doesn't know spiritual science. My dear friends, a human being is not a being restricted to the human body. A human being is a cosmic being with wings spread out throughout the cosmos, living in several parallel universes simultaneously. Every human being is now required to realize its own cosmic nature, cosmic dimensions, through application of the true scientific temper, which again means going into meditation. We are not beings limited to the human body. That has to be realized. We are cosmic human beings, my dear friends. We are cosmic human beings. We are cosmic beings presently in the human body. We have had no beginning and we will have no end. Our true nature is beyond the wildest imagination possible. And we have to own that. We have lost that paradise. We have to regain that paradise. The way to regain the paradise is to own the new scientific temper, which in simple terms means be a yogi. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna admonished Arjuna to become a yogi. That is the most fundamental demand from a perfected human being. Be a yogi. That is the application of the true scientific temper. Unless you become a yogi, there is no scientific temper whatsoever in you. To quote this particular shloka from Krishna, tapasvibhyodiko yogi, gnanibhyopi matodikaha, karmyabhyashchadiko yogi, tasmat yogi bhava Arjuna. Hey Arjun, be a yogi. You are a great warrior, but of no use. You yourself are unhappy by killing Yes, killing always gives you unhappiness. Therefore, become a yogi. Become a champion of the true scientific temper by going into meditation. That is the one line agenda for the whole humanity now. Become a yogi. If you are not a yogi, you are stuck up with being a rogi. The whole humanity is a rogi humanity, diseased humanity. Now the whole humanity has to become a yogi humanity, enlightened humanity. Without the application of the true scientific temper in terms of meditation, the whole humanity is a diseased humanity, rogi humanity. And with the application of the scientific temper, my dear friends, with the application of the science of meditation, the whole humanity immediately will become an enlightened humanity, a yogi humanity. So, let us sum up again, my dear friends. We think the human being is far superior to the animal being. In fact, animal being is far superior to any human being. All animals are naturally enlightened. They have the true scientific temper. They don't fight within themselves. They are never unhappy. They are always joyous. All animal kingdom is joyous to serve human kingdom, but human kingdom is out to eliminate animal kingdom. So, my dear friends, the time has come for the whole humanity to become a yogi humanity. Every human being is now on a crucial turning point. You have to become a yogi. Otherwise, the human kingdom itself will be eliminated from the planet Earth. My dear friends, and the new scientific temper demands that we go into meditation. Lot of meditation, magnificent meditation, beautiful meditation, glorious meditation, like that of Jesus Christ and like that of Gautama Buddha. These are the two shining human beings with real scientific temper. So, glory unto the real scientific temper called as meditation. Glory unto the real scientific temper called as meditation. Glory unto the real scientific temper called as meditation. Thank you, thank you, thank you. My dear friends, and my dear masters, and my dear gods of India and the whole world, today let us know about a great movement called as the Pyramid Spiritual Societies Movement. The Pyramid Spiritual Societies Movement is a new age movement. We are in a great new age. The old age is fast receding and a new age is done. And Pyramid Spiritual Societies Movement is a great new age movement, born in India and spreading all over the world. About 30 years back, when one person became enlightened, the movement began. When any person becomes enlightened, a movement begins all over the world. Like when you throw a stone in a pond, then the ripples will start and will spread all over the pond.
When Mahavira became enlightened, a whole movement started. When Buddha got enlightened, a whole movement started. When Adi Shankaracharya got enlightened, a whole movement started. When Jesus Christ got enlightenment, a whole movement started. When Muhammad became enlightened, a whole movement started. Similarly, when any person becomes enlightened, a new movement starts. The Pyramid Spiritual Society's movement also started because one person got enlightened, and that one person is sitting in front of you and speaking. Before enlightenment, there is always a search for truth. When the search for truth gets culminated in personal experience of truth, then that is called as enlightenment. Without a search for truth, there is no enlightenment. There is a search for truth. Yeah, I would like to have truth. Well, I'm not satisfied with these transitory things. The worldly situations, the worldly acquisitions, the worldly experiences, the worldly name and fame and achievement and success. When they are not giving you enough satisfaction, you seek that satisfaction from somewhere else, something inside. And you want to know whether there is something inside. As all the great masters have said, you like to check out with personal experience whether whatever they have said, the so-called earlier saints and masters, what have they said? Is it relevant to my case also? When that kind of search for truth begins, then a new life begins, which is called as spirituality. You take the first steps in spirituality, you seclude yourself, then you try to make your mind empty and see what happens. So, in any person's life, when a search for truth begins, an introversion begins, and he would like to sit alone, he or she, whatever it is, would like to sit alone and take stock of things and empty the world inside the mind. There is always a big world in the mind. The mind is a big world, my dear friends. The search for truth begins either in the case of Mahavira, Buddha, Muhammad, anywhere. Muhammad went and sat inside a cave, that's called the Hira cave, near Mecca. There he started contemplation, and there he was a successful businessman, but he started his search for truth. Well, he went to the isolation and started emptying the mind. Then, of course, where there is a desire, there is always fulfillment of that desire. When there is a desire for enlightenment, when there is a desire for search for truth, what is truth? Truth that transcends all limitations of space, time, and situation. That's truth. If something is constant in all times, in all spaces, in all situations, that particular thing is called as truth. So, a search for truth is for a truth that is available or common or same under all situations, in all times, and wherever you are, howsoever you are. That which is universal experience, that which is universally valid, that is true. Truth. Truth. Gandhiji made his own experiments with truth, and he did arrive at truth, spirituality, personal experience of spirituality. So, my dear friends, well, the Pyramid Spiritual Society's movement also started with one person's enlightenment. When one person becomes enlightened, now everything around that person has to change. Every event around that person has to change. Every other person who happens to interact with that kind of person, enlightened person, now the effect has to happen, the ripple effect. Now, whosoever touches that particular enlightened man now has got clear choice whether to become like that or not. And it facilitates the enlightenment of everybody else. 30 years back, this person got enlightened. Towards the end of the year 1979, when everything became clear here, hey guy, this is what you are. Hey guy, this is what you have come here for. This is what you have to speak. This is what you have to think. This is what you have to plan. You have to distribute the enlightenment for the common cause of the world. So everything got clear here around the end of the year 1979 here. This fellow became empty. The body is a shell, now emptiness is here. There is no craving for worldly things. Well, you have to do your minimal duties in the world, but the major purpose in life is to explain enlightenment, to distribute enlightenment, to expose enlightenment to each and every person whomsoever you meet. What happens when you become enlightened? You come out of misery, you come out of dukkha. You acquire a basic common sense, a crystal clear common sense. Now your every word, every deed, every thought is well channelized, focused. When you become enlightened, you clearly understand the truth or the life as lived by a Mahavir, a Buddha, a Gandhi, an Osho, a Brahmarshi, thousands and thousands of them. Now, they are all your colleagues. What you have achieved now, they have achieved earlier. What they have achieved earlier, now you have achieved that. As Gautama Buddha said, hey, there are millions of enlightened people before me, and millions of people will become enlightened after me. I'm just one. I'm not the only one. I'm just one. So, my dear friends, the Pyramid Spiritual Society's movement was born after the enlightenment of one person who is sitting in front of you speaking about enlightenment. There's a saying in Zen that mountains are mountains and rivers are rivers, and then mountains are not mountains and rivers are not rivers. And third stage again, mountains are mountains and rivers are rivers. That is a classic Zen statement. Same thing happens. During the course of enlightenment, mountains are not mountains and rivers are not rivers. Because what you see the world is not exactly what it is. It's something else. When you experience that something else, then you come back to square one. Hey, you live happily in this world. Where mountains are mountains, rivers are rivers, persons are persons, things are things, events are events. And you will live with the same person, with the same events, but in a totally happiness mode, a joyful mode, in an enlightened mode. You know everything that's going on around yourself. You understand each and every micro thing that's happening around. Why it happens? My dear friends, when you become enlightened for the first time in life, you acquire happiness, a state of bliss, which is not exactly happiness, which is not exactly bliss. It is happiness, non-happiness. It is bliss, non-bliss. It is in the, what you can say, in the neutral gear. Neither you are moving forward, nor you are moving backward. You are on a absolutely neutral ground. When you speak out, when you think out, when you do out, what is exposed and what is exhibited is your own neutrality, which is neither for nor against, howsoever. When you become enlightened, what you teach people is a new science called as spiritual science. Before enlightenment, you do not know what exactly is spiritual science. But now that you have become enlightened, you know pinpointedly what exactly is spiritual science. Now your life becomes dedicated to spiritual science. This person also, when this guy became enlightened, towards the end of the year 1979, after a number of years of search for truth, trying to experience truth, trying to gather truth from various other truth seekers, what happens is a beautiful science emanates, becomes evident. That science is called as the spiritual science. As you get educated in the material science right from your childhood. You study physics, the light, the sound, the Newtonian laws, etc., etc. You understand the cause and effect in the outer world. Now, you understand the cause and the effect in the inner world. That which is governing all the events of people is the science. It follows exactly mathematical equations. Nothing is cursory